Hi everyone, hope you all are doing well. So, today I'm going to talk about our latest feature which we have introduced, which is called pre-hooks. So, you can find this feature under your developer settings, and it's one of the most powerful feature which we have launched recently. So, think of pre-hooks like your visual middleware. So, kind of similar to the serverless functions that you have on AWS or Supabase, but it's more like a visual middleware for you where you will do the drag and drop of different actions that will provide you, and you can actually pre-process or pre-validate your data before it actually hits your database. And let's get over to the pre-hook section. So what I will do is I'll just create a pre-hook here, and you can see the interface is very easy to understand, and that's have been our objective as well, to make even the development work looks straightforward and not a hectic of a work to do. Okay, so here you will simply choose your instance, so basically your database on which you want to set this pre-hook. So let's say I will keep this as library management system, which I have, and I will give it a name as validate email or whatever you want. Okay, I'll just give it as check email there as my hook name, because my objective here is to actually reject any kind of emails which are Gmail. Okay, so I do not want any Gmail account to be added to my database, only other email accounts. So I'm just taking this as an example. You can have your own different requirements, and I want this to happen on, let's say, members. So I do not want any member to register with a Gmail email ID. So when do you want this event to happen? Before insert, update, or delete, right? So I want this before insert because I want this before any member gets even registered. Now this is the main kitchen here, and this is the one of the powerful features which we have. You can add sequential steps, and each step will follow a sequential order, right, and to validate your data. So if I just click on that, you can see there are a couple of steps. You can either transform the data, set some variables, and perform some other activities within this entire pre-hook, right? Date and time, you can work on the date and time functions, math functions, right? You can hash the code, right? Or you can hash any field value and then save this value in your database. Conditions, very powerful feature with if else loop, right? JSON structure, text features, right? Rate limiting, another powerful feature. Database query, you can even like do the validations based on the database data as well. So you can perform couple of DB queries, right? Not on just this database, but any of your database that you already own. So based on the data that you have in your other database, you can make some decisions on this current entry. Reject means you can actually entirely reject any request to enter in your database. So my objective here is to check whether the email is containing Gmail or not. I'll just use condition here, and if I just scroll down, I can put a condition. You can see I can put a variable. Now if you read this, they run from top to bottom. Okay, so the steps run from top to bottom. It will first check this first steps, then it will go down, and then finally it will finish. So you can reference any incoming data using record.column name. So the record here is members, right? So I can reference any of the column from members in these dynamic variables, right? I'll just show you like that. So if I just type double braces, you can see record.id, record.full name. So these are the columns which I have inside my members table. So what I want is I want to check on record.email. So if it contains, okay, let's, if it contains at the rate gmail dot, okay, so I want to like just reject this data, whichever the email which contains this exact keyword there, right, at the rate gmail dot. If I just write, let's say, Gmail, right, it will work fine. But let's say someone types gmail double l y something like that, okay, it will block this as well because it is containing the gmail still, right? So we want to be very sure exactly which data we want to block. So I'll just type dot because then it will end here itself. And the condition feature is extremely powerful. You can even combine with and conditions, you can combine with or conditions as well if you want. For the moment I'll just keep it simple here. So my objective is if the email contains at the rate gmail, just reject this, okay. So this will simply reject this. Else, if the email doesn't contain the gmail address, it will pass means it will go to the next steps, or finally if there are no other steps it will simply add that record to your database, okay. So this is the first condition. Now let's add one more condition here. I want to rate limit this. So I want that any user, okay, record.user ID means it will just pick the user ID of any user who is actually right now working on that particular operation, right? So if someone is signing up, he is that current user there, right? So we can put the rate limits as well, or you can even put a specific user as well if you want. Okay, or you can put a specific user ID or the IP address as well if you want that. And just choose record.id, so it will pick that user who's actually performing that sign up process at that time. It will work on that. And I want it to, let's say, limit to two requests per 60 seconds, okay. I want to put this rate limit, right? So if it pass everything, it will then be a successful hook there, okay. So I'll just save this hook, and I can even go to logs as well to check any logs. Once we start working on this, we'll see the logs as well. So I go back to list. So check email is there, right? Now what I will do is I'll simply go and open my API documentation for testing out this particular step there. Okay, so I'm inside the API documentation for library management system. So I'll go to the members table here. Where do we have the members? Yeah, so here we have create members, right? So I'll try it out. So I'll give it any name, let's say demo user. Email, let's give it the Gmail email address. So let's say demo user at the rate gmail.com. Okay, so now it is finding this particular keyword, right? So it should block. I do not want to pass any additional fields here, so let's remove those. This is fine. Let's try it, and it should actually block this because this is containing Gmail. I'll click on execute, and you see it's saying validation failed, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to the logs here. I'll check the logs, and you can see it has mentioned denied because the condition evaluated to true. True means it actually found the Gmail address in the email ID. So that's why it denied this. Now, let me go back again, and let me try with a different email address here. Let's say Outlook. Okay, and if I just click on execute, you can see the record created successfully. Let's go back to the logs again, and if I just go back on the logs back, so you can see it has said allowed here, which means evaluated to false, and rate limit is also correct, okay. So it is under two limits, one out of two within those 60-second of window. So now let's check on the rate limit part as well. So I'll just quickly create couple of one or two users there. So demo user 2, demo user 2, click on execute. It added that. Let's quickly add demo user 3, demo user 3. It executed no. So you can see the rate limit exceeded. So you can see now it has actually blocked this user to make further actions until and unless our 60 seconds window has been passed. So this is how powerful these pre-validation checks are, and these act as your middleware, okay, where you can actually control a lot of stuff there before they actually enter your database. Now let's go back to the logs there and see how it works out. You can see that these recent requests were denied. You can see it. Uh, the first condition, it evaluated to false because it was an Outlook email, not a Gmail. So it went to the next condition, checked the rate limit, and it actually failed there. That's why you can see the denied action, and you can see the rate limit exceeded message as well. Okay, so this is how you can actually go and like create your own middlewares as well. If I go back to the log, actually the pre-hook, I'll just click on edit and I can show you some more actions as well. So if I just click on that, I can even check based on the DB query as well, or I can even check or validate a particular email is having a correct format or not, or a particular link is correct or not. Okay, so we can try with, let's say, this one. Okay, transform. So transform means it can transform your data as well. So record field or variable, let's say record field means you can actually pick your columns, right? Now let's say full name. Okay, what I want to do is I want to pre-process this as uppercase. So this entire full name should be stored as uppercase there. I'll just click on save hook, and let's try this again, and I hope our 60 seconds window for the rate limit has been passed. So we should be able to create this user now. uh, Demo 3 user, let's try to create this demo 3 user. I click on execute, and the record created successfully because we are now over and above that rate limit. Now let's validate whether these users were created or not, and specifically this user, demo user 3, because I want this entire string to be added as in caps there, like in uppercase. So I go to get members, try it out, and click on execute. You can see a couple of users were created. Now if you see the demo user, it is all in capital alphabets, right? So this is actually what you are able to achieve with your data which is still in transit and hasn't hit your database yet. Let's go back to this, check the logs. Again, you can come to logs and check this every time. So you can see all these actions were passed. You can actually get them in the logs there. Let's see some other actions there. So crypto hash, you can even hash a specific field as well. Now let's do one thing. I will actually hash the email itself. Okay, so let's uh, what actually other columns do we have? Let me see what columns do we have. So we have email, phone, status, membership type, right? So let's actually hash the phone number itself. So I will pick here record dot phone, and I want to hash it in this one. So these two formats are available. Let's select, let's say, MD5, or you can pick anything as well. Now you can either save this to a variable and then actually perform some more actions over this in next actions, right, or next steps there, or you can directly save this value to the database. So I want to save this value hash to the actually the phone. Okay, to the phone column in my database. I'll click on save. Now I'll just click, go back to the documentation, and let's try to add another user here, demo user 4. This time give phone number, let's say 1234, just a random, I'm just giving some random number here. You can give any number. Now two things will happen. First of all, this will be stored as in caps, right, capital letters. This will be stored as some kind of hash code. Okay, so let's click on execute. uh, Record has been created. Let's go and validate this. Click on execute to the get members to read all the members here. So there you go, you have the demo user in caps, and if you notice, the phone number has been stored in some hash code here. So that is that. And I hope this was clear. And just to recap what we have done, what I will do is I will just give you a quick diagrammatic overview of what we have done. So let's say we have our just go to pick this one. So let's say this is where your incoming request is coming. So user clicked sign up, or it can be any event right in your application. Next step happen is it actually go and calls the NoCodeBackend API. And then what happens? It basically then stores your data in the database, right? That's what happened, right? Now, with the pre-hooks, what we have, let's say you want to now validate whether a particular email, right, is not Gmail, right? Check whether Gmail is there or not, right? You want to check whether it's a Gmail address or not. You can do that check. Let's say you want to do another check on rate limits, right? Rate limits. You do not want a user to like keep on spamming the sign up button. So you can put rate limits. What else you can do? Let's say you also want to store your password in MD5 format, right? Now all these actions, right, you cannot do right now, right? But now with this particular pre-hooks that we have enabled, you will be able to achieve this now with the pre-hooks. So pre-hooks, when pre-hooks is enabled on your database table, what will happen is when a call happens to the no-code backend API, instead of directly adding the record to database, it will first call your pre-hook. Okay. Now pre-hook will go and check your conditions that you have added, right? So it will go and check all your conditions, not just one condition, but it will sequentially check all the conditions that you have added. And once everything is met, right, it will again, the pre-hook will just call back your no-code backend API and tell it like, okay, so these data is valid, and just store this particular pre-processed data now in the database. Once this response goes back to no-code backend API, it will then finally store your data in the no-code backend database. So this is how pre-hooks works, and if you see it is sitting in the middleware, that's why we call it as a middleware. Okay. And middleware, if I tell you, it requires a lot of coding, right? We have completely tried to remove that hurdle for you by giving you the visualizing the middleware itself through those drag and drop. So this seems to be a drag and drop for you guys, right? But behind the scenes, there is a lot of coding happening, right? So there are multiple middlewares getting created for you guys as soon as you just save the hook, right? But just to make it more intuitive for anyone using no code backend, we are trying to make it as that simple as possible for you guys. And not just that, we are going to introduce many more features in the future, so that like we make it extremely easy and no brainer for you guys to use no code backend. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know. Before closing this, I want to cover one more feature that we recently introduced. I think we haven't marketed that yet. Okay, so that is, if I just go back to my databases, okay, if I go to this schema blueprint, okay, so you can see this schema blueprint as well. It now actually gives you a visualizing a visual representation of your entire database. However, how many number of tables you have, you can go and you can see how these different tables and columns are actually interconnected with each other, right? So this is more on the kind of UI or UX view in case you want to like see your database in a visual hierarchy. This is the place you can actually go and check. For example, you can see all these tables are actually connected to this auth.users, because this means this database is using the no-code backend authentication behind the scenes, right? You can see different columns with different constraints. For example, you can see user id is there, which is a foreign key. Id is a primary key. This means this is not null. Okay, this is unique. So these kind of column constraints are there. You can click on simple to just get the table names instead of just the other columns. Okay, you can do this stuff as well as left to right, okay, or top to bottom. You have everything here, right? And then you can take a screenshot immediately through png. It will save your database representation in a png, or you can save this as a pdf as well. In case you want to provide this schema to someone else, right, you can just take this screenshot or a pdf and share those with your end users. So yeah, I just want to talk about this feature as well, and this is available to everyone, so go and try this out as well. All right, so I'll just end this video here itself. And in case you have any questions, please let us know and we'll try our best to help you out as soon as we can. Thank you and take care.